Prologue. In an age where kingdoms rose and fell like tides, and where the silence of the heavens was thought to conceal the secret counsels of eternity, there lived a young man named Arion, whose heart was chained to the stars. In his hands lay the science of the heavens, yet in his soul burned an emptiness that no constellation could fill. Far from the sea where Arion dwelt, hidden among the whispering cliffs and shadowed pines, lived Liora, daughter of a master clockmaker. She grew amidst the ticking of countless gears, among pendulums that swung as if they bore command over life itself. Yet in her breast stirred a rebellion. She longed to unshackle herself from the tyranny of time. It is their story that follows. The tale of a man who worshipped eternity and a woman who sought to destroy it. They met beneath a wandering star, and their love became a fire so bright that neither time nor fate could bear to endure it. Act I. The Watcher of the Skies. Arion had been reared by scholars who taught him that love was a fever, a passing madness, unworthy of the man who gazes on the eternal. See the stars, they said. They are cold, they are patient, they are beyond the folly of desire. And so Arion turned his eyes upward, night after night, seeking order among the wheeling heavens. He charted comets, named new stars, and traced the trembling of planets as though he could bind them to parchment. Yet though the heavens filled his eyes, they could not fill his heart. Loneliness was his daily bread. He walked through the city as through a graveyard, seeing men and women clasp hands, whisper, and smile, and though he told himself he envied them not. In the stillness of midnight his chest ached with a hollow pain he dared not name. Act 2. The daughter of the clockmaker. Meanwhile, Liora dwelt among the ceaseless ticking of her father's shop. She polished brass, wound chains, and heard the measured beat of hundreds of clocks. Her father spoke of time as if it were a god, cruel, unyielding, and inevitable, but she felt it otherwise. To her, time was no god but a jailer. She saw lovers part at dawn, soldiers march to war at the hour struck, and the old decline as the pendulums mocked their waning breath. She whispered to herself, if only time might break, even for a moment, the world would taste eternity. And in that desire she nurtured a secret flame, one that longed for rebellion against the invisible chains of the hours. Act 3. The meeting beneath the comet. On a night when the heavens were restless, and a comet, long banished to the dark, returned in flame across the sky. Arion climbed the heights to watch it through his great lens. Liora, too, had fled her father's workshop, weary of the ticking that haunted her dreams, and sought the mountain for silence. There, as the comet split the firmament like a sword of fire, their eyes met. She, gazing upward with defiance against time. He, gazing with awe as though the stars had grown flesh. It was no mortal meeting, but a collision of worlds. The astronomer who denied love, and the dreamer who denied time. In that instant, the silence of centuries shattered. Arion felt within him a flame fiercer than any star, and Liora beheld in him the first man who might tear down the tyranny of hours. Act 4. The birth of love. From that night forth, they met in secret, beneath archways, in gardens trembling. With moonlight, they spoke without words, for their eyes bore the burden of their hearts. Arion told himself that it was folly, that the stars would mock him. Yet when she smiled, the constellations dimmed. Liora told herself that no man could ever conquer time. Yet when his hand held hers, the pendulums fell silent in her soul. Their love was like a river breaking its banks. It drowned the walls of reason and swept them into an ecstasy that cared not for law, nor custom, nor fear. But as with all loves too bright, the shadows gathered. Act V. The fathers of chains. Liora's father, the clockmaker, discovered her absence, and his wrath was stern. Time is the crown of all things, he cried. Whoever dares defy it is cursed. He forbade her to leave, yet could not bind her heart. Arion's master, the aged astronomer, warned him, love is a madness that blinds the mind to truth. The stars are eternal, she is dust. But Arion laughed, for the first time in his life, and answered, if she is dust, then I shall embrace the dust, for it burns brighter than all your heavens. Thus were they surrounded by those who sought to part them, and yet the fire of their union only grew. Act 6. The dream of defiance in secret, Arion began a work both wondrous and terrible. He studied the wheels of Liora's father's craft and joined them with the secrets of the stars. By night he built a device, a heart of iron and flame, meant to halt the march of every clock in the city. If time may rest, he whispered, then love shall live forever. And Liora, with equal fervor, conceived her own deed. She would set torch to the observatory where Arion's master taught that stars were greater than love. For she believed that heaven itself must be conquered, else it would always stand above them. Thus they plotted not only against their keepers, but against time and eternity themselves. Act 7. The hour of reckoning, the night of their rebellion came. The comet returned, blazing once more across the heavens, as though the sky itself awaited their defiance. Arion descended into the city with his creation. With one turn of a silver key, the pendulums halted, the gears froze, and every clock in every tower and chamber fell silent. Time itself seemed to pause, as though the world had drawn breath and could not release it that same hour. Liora, her eyes aflame, climbed the mountain and cast her fire into the observatory. The dome blazed, the great lens cracked, and the old master cried to the heavens as the roof fell in ruin. And in the silence of that suspended hour, when neither clocks nor stars could claim dominion, Arion and Liora found one another. Act 8. The eternal embrace. They met upon the mountain's crest. While below the city stood frozen in unnatural stillness, and above, the comet shed silver fire. They held each other, trembling with both terror and joy, knowing that they had defied all things mortal and divine. The silence around them deepened, until it seemed that the world itself would never move again. Then, as if answering their defiance, the comet descended in a blaze that lit the night like dawn. Its light wrapped them in brilliance, and as they kissed, their forms dissolved into radiance. The city awoke to ruin, the observatory ash, the clocks broken, and no trace of the lovers but a whisper carried in the wind. Part II Act X. The silence of the city. When the first light of dawn crept over the city, it found a world suspended. Clocks lay silent, their pendulums still. The bell in the great tower hung frozen above empty streets. People emerged from their homes as if from deep slumber, blinking at the unnatural calm. The merchants dropped their coins, the children paused mid-laughter. Even the birds hung motionless in the sky. It was a world held in the grasp of a single breath, a breath that belonged to the lovers now lost to the stars. Whispers spread. Some spoke of Arion and Liora's courage, others of their folly. Rumors grew like wildfire. Yet no one could deny the wonder in the air. Time had bent, even if only for a moment, and in that bending, humanity glimpsed the impossible. Act 11. The heavens answer far above. The comet lingered in the sky, its tail painting trails of silver fire across the darkness. Scholars and astrologers pored over ancient texts, searching for omens, tracing calculations, and debating prophecies. Some argued that the lovers had ascended to join the stars themselves, while others whispered that the world had been punished for the hubris of defying time. Even the astronomers felt awe, recognizing that the heavens, for the first time, had acknowledged mortal desire. And yet, the comet did not depart. Night after night, it hung over the mountain where Arion and Liora had vanished, a reminder of love's defiance and the fragility of mortal law. Act 12. Whispers in the shadows. In the shadowed alleys and candlelit chambers of the city, the tale of Arion and Liora grew into legend. Children were told to look to the stars and dream. Scholars debated the balance of time and love, and poets tried, in vain, to capture the fire that had scorched both earth and sky. Some claimed that on moonless nights, one might hear their voices carried by the wind, a soft hum, a fleeting echo, a song that could make the heart ache with longing. Those who listened closely found courage to defy the ordinary, to dream beyond the ticking of their lives. Act 13. The memory of time. Though the clocks had been broken, time itself found ways to endure. Days slowly returned to motion, seasons changed, and life resumed. But a subtle difference remained. Moments felt heavier, longer, richer. Those who remembered the stillness spoke of it as a taste of eternity, and all who looked to the skies knew that some love had touched the fabric of the world itself. Liora's father, the master clockmaker, wandered among his silent gears, torn between grief and pride. He understood now that time, for all its tyranny, had been challenged and shown mercy. The universe, he realized, was not merely machinery. It was alive with longing, capable of witnessing courage. Act 14. Dreams of the lovers in the infinite. Space between stars. Arion and Liora awoke as if from a dream, yet still conscious of their past lives. Their forms shimmered with comet fire, their voices were the music of distant nebulae, and their hearts beat in harmony with the pulse of the cosmos. They walked together on fields of starlight, feeling neither hunger, pain, nor fear. Yet, even in eternity, they remembered the city, the mountains, the ticking of clocks, and the frailty of human love. It was a bittersweet memory. Their passion had transcended mortality, but in doing so, they had left behind the world they cherished. Still, they rejoiced, for in each other, they had discovered the truth that no star, no hour, no law of nature could erase. Love, when fully embraced, is eternal. Act 15. The echo across ages, generations past. Astronomers and poets, kings and dreamers, all observed the skies and wondered at the comet that never failed to return. In every epoch, the story was retold. The astronomer who sought eternity, the maiden who defied time, the love that changed the world. Some said that the comet carried a fragment of their souls, that when it passed, it left sparks of inspiration for those brave enough to dream. Others claimed it was a warning. Defy the order of the world at your peril. Yet all agreed on one thing: the story endured. And in enduring, it reminded humanity that the heart can surpass reason, that courage can alter fate, and that love, fierce, reckless, unyielding, can strike through both heaven and earth alike. Act 16. Epilogue of fire and stars. Even now, when the comet passes, there are those who pause, who hold their breath, who look to the mountains and the sky, and feel the invisible touch of Arion and Liora. For in that brief, eternal moment, the lovers had taught the world something profound, that life is fragile, time is fleeting, yet the spirit of love can blaze brighter than the stars themselves. And thus the tale endures, whispered in the wind, written in the light of the comet, engraved in the memory of every heart that dares to dream beyond the measure of hours. Part Act 17. The legacy of silence. The city, once hushed under the lovers' defiance, now lived in cautious remembrance. Time resumed, yet it bore the memory of stillness. A subtle echo lingered in every footstep, every tolling bell, every breath of wind through the towers. Artisans spoke of clocks that refused to tick, of gears that moved as though guided by an unseen hand. Children, fascinated, would linger near the towers, hoping to glimpse the impossible, the moment when time might pause again. Scholars debated endlessly, writing tomes and charts, yet none could fully account for the phenomena. Arion and Liora's act had left the world forever changed, a silent testament to the power of mortal hearts. Act 18. The watchers among stars above, the heavens seemed transformed. The comet, their eternal herald, grew brighter with each passing century, trailing light that could be seen even in the brightest days. The stars, once indifferent, appeared to bow toward the mountain where Arion and Liora had vanished. Astronomers recorded phenomena that defied reason. Constellations shifting subtly, new lights emerging without cause. Those who gazed upon the night sky swore that they could feel the lovers' presence, a warmth that transcended the chill of space. Some even claimed to hear whispers in the cosmic wind, a lullaby of eternity, urging dreamers to rise beyond the confines of time. Act 19. The city remembers. In the streets below, humanity moved forward, rebuilding, grieving, celebrating. Festivals arose in their honor, stories passed down in song and verse. Parents told their children, "Look to the stars and the mountain where they vanished. Know that love may challenge the heavens themselves." Poets wrote lines that trembled with the memory of passion and courage. Painters captured fleeting comet light on canvas, Musicians composed melodies that swelled like tides. In every art, there lived a spark of Arion and Liora, and through it, the city itself became a temple of their memory. Act XX. The lovers' vigil in the endless expanse of the cosmos. Arion and Liora continued their eternal journey. They wandered among nebulae and constellations, their forms aglow, their hearts beating in harmony with the pulse of creation. Yet they did not forget the earth they left behind. From the heavens, they watched the lives of those they had inspired, the lovers who dared, the dreamers who hoped, the children who gazed skyward. Each flicker of courage, each act of defiance, was a hymn to their legacy. And though they were beyond mortal reach, they remained intimate with the world they had altered, connected by the invisible threads of love, memory, and light. Act XXI. Trials of time centuries passed, empires rose and fell, and countless generations walked the mountain and gazed at the comet. Some claimed miracles, sudden healings, moments of insight, impossible coincidences. Yet each marvel carried a warning. The universe, though pliable under passion, was not without consequence. Lovers who sought to emulate Arion and Liora were often tested. Some succeeded in fleeting moments of brilliance. Others were consumed by the fire of ambition or envy. Time itself seemed aware, a silent adjudicator, respecting courage but indifferent to folly. Through it all, the comet shone, a guiding star for those brave enough to follow hearts that dared defy the ordinary. Act XXI. The reunion of worlds in rare moments. When the comet blazed brightest, Arion and Liora appeared together to chosen souls, dreamers, poets, lovers, as shimmering silhouettes of starlight. They whispered encouragement, a breath of eternity urging mortals to embrace both love and courage. Those who glimpsed them never forgot. Some were moved to deeds of heroism, some to acts of pure love, and others to the quiet contemplation of the fleeting nature of existence. In every heart touched, Arion and Liora lived anew. Thus, the lovers became not merely memory, but living inspiration, a bridge between the finite and the infinite. Act XXII. Epilogue of fire and stars, and so, across centuries, across generations, across the endless expanse of the universe, their story endures. Time moves on, but it carries the echo of their defiance. Love burns, fleeting yet eternal, in the hearts of those who dare to dream. Look to the sky when the comet passes and pause. Listen for the faint whisper in the wind. Feel the invisible touch of Arion and Liora. In that instant, know that love is greater than mortality, stronger than time, and brighter than the stars themselves. And thus the tale concludes, yet never ends. For as long as hearts beat and eyes turn skyward, the star and the eternity live on. That I've created the full text of the star and the eternity as a single document, formatted and ready for print. You can now download or export it for your book layout.